Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. We have awesome news as usual from Ukrainian army, and let's zoom in to Liman city. This city is very close to the front lines and Russia still continue to keep that one under their control. By the way, my friends, make sure that you are watching me from my original channel Dennis Davidov, because there are lots of scammers who are taking my videos. We got the information from the Russian resources, and also that is confirmed by some of the Ukrainian media services that our forces advanced from this position all across the north part. So in that way we might circle Liman city from this direction, and actually Russian forces would be just trapped in this place. Russian forces were able to build the defense line in Liman city itself, so to minimize our losses obviously it's better to make a gap and go from the north side to Liman city and also push from the south. You see that there are some lakes here and rivers. Those are natural obstacles for our attacking part this time, so that is why we're gonna bypass this obstacle from the north and go to the south. So it's just a matter of time then Russian army would be circled in that city. I put my eye very close on that one, so I hope next week we're gonna free this city from Russian occupiers. As for this military map update, here we go with some of the changes. So it was yesterday, and this picture for the night time. So we moved from Donetsk to this direction, and I think we're very close to Ridka already. I think we already bypassed this part of the lake, and we're gonna go to Liman. So I guess if Russian soldiers would like to save their lives, it's better to use this secondary roads to retreat to Crimea and to Lugansk region. It's the single movement that we have on the front lines for today, my friends, but nevertheless I think Ukraine is preparing for one more jump attacking Russians, because we need to use this time 1 or 2 months, then Russia will prepare their mobilized soldiers. And as for today, we got the confirmation that Russia would like to mobilize not 300,000 people but 1 million, and so-called referendums will go very soon. I think this weekend. Obviously those are not referendums but nonsense, just to have some sort of the legitimate right to mobilize forces for Russia to fight in Ukraine. And now let's go to some of the news and events. Well, the greatest news for the last night that our soldiers from Azovstal were freed. I think not everyone, but 215 people. It's quite a lot. Also the leaders of Azov itself were freed in exchange for one guy, Medvedchuk, who was a Russian puppet leader here in Ukraine. He got his own party. Now it's forbidden, and that party was some sort of the Russian octopus that put the Russian peace, or they wanted to put the Russian peace here in Ukraine. Actually some of the people voted for them, but now people just hate that party. So this is the guy Viktor Medvedchuk, the leader of OPZZ party, pro-Russian party. He got millions of dollars from a Russian regime to put Russian peace here in Ukraine, unsuccessfully as you see, and he was wearing Ukrainian uniform because he was trying to escape across the Ukrainian border, but our border control was able to identify this guy and stop him from that, and he was caught and he was put in prison for I think half a year since the war was ongoing, and now he was exchanged for our guys. Awesome exchange. I think we got all of the information possible from that guy, and now we have our soldiers. Most of the soldiers in Ukraine, however, the leaders of Azov went to Turkey, and it was agreed with the Russian side that they will stay there till the end of this war. Nevertheless, Russian patriots were so angry that it was at the same day that Russia announced the massive mobilization in Russia, and before they said we're gonna capture Azov, we capture them, and we're never gonna release those soldiers to Ukraine because they are some sort of Nazis. Some of the guys got even death penalties, but they are now okay. They were exchanged, and I think there are still some of the soldiers in Russian territory. It was a painful punch for Russian propaganda yesterday, and it's great operation done by our negotiators who were able to free those guys exactly the day of the mobilization that Russia announced it. Also, President Zelensky greeted our soldiers who got freedom finally after they defended Azovstal and Mariupol city. Those soldiers are heroes. Also, news coming from Germany: we obtained 6 more Gepard tanks, anti-aircraft tanks, and totally we have around 30 of those units in Ukrainian army. Thanks Germany, and we do expect to receive Leopard tanks from you as well. Is Israel permitting anti-UAV system transfer to Ukraine. So it was some sort of the other country, I don't remember it, that was using that equipment, anti-drone equipment, and Israel refused to give the permission for the transfer of that weapon. Now it gave the permission, and it will help us to fight against Iranian drones. Quite a strange move from Germany. They think to give the shelter for those Russians who would like to escape the Russian mobilization. In that case, half of the Russia would go to Germany. Don't do it. For example, Czech ministers say that they not gonna give any kind of shelters to Russians, as well as Estonians says, Lithuanians, Poland. So basically they do not accept Russian citizens for that reason in their country. And I think it's the proper way to do it. We should isolate Russia, and now they are prisoners in their own state. Russia starts to mobilize men. As I told you, they said that they're gonna mobilize 300,000 people, but now we have the inside saying that they're gonna mobilize around 1 million soldiers into their army. Not all of them will go to Ukraine to fight, because they also need the guys behind the front line, also for supplies, for everything, lorry drivers. And Russian army leader Shoigu said that Russia lost a little bit less than 6,000 soldiers and Ukraine lost 100,000. Why not 300,000 or something? So those numbers are unbelievable. Don't trust to Russian media and to Russian leaders. And I already told you about the financial document that showed the actual picture that Russia lost 50,000 soldiers during this war, who lost their lives, and many more injured personnel. So that is why they need lots of new meat coming to the front lines. That special military operation went completely wrong for Russia, and from what I see, around 10% of Russian men are trying to escape mobilization, leaving Russia itself for other countries. Because of the huge demand now, the price for air tickets went to the moon. So if you want to go from Moscow to Tel Aviv, for example, to leave Russia, here you have the price. So the cheapest one is a little bit less than $2,000. Also, Russian state airline Aeroflot is not accepting men for travel between 18 and 60 years old. And they are returning all of the tickets that were purchased before by those people. And just now, President Zelensky, in his usual evening speech, said that then Russia announced the mobilization. They admitted that they lost this special operation, or normal people call it war. They lost 55,000 soldiers here and many more injured. And Russians, if you want to save your lives, just go and run away from the mobilization, flee Russia itself, hide, or surrender if you were forced to fight here in Ukraine. And we got the report from the British intelligence. Even this limited mobilization is likely to be highly unpopular with parts of the Russian population. Putin is accepting considerable political risk in hope of generating much needed combat power. So this move is an admission that Russia has exhausted its supply of willing volunteers to fight in Ukraine. I also think like that all of the people who wanted to spend their life here fighting in Ukraine, they already wasted it. Russian officials say that they shut down Ukrainian drone in Crimea. The problem with that drone, that it got the stars on its wings. This picture was taken in Sakhalin, far east in Russian Federation. So all of those mobilized men will be just loaded on that airplane, Antonov 12, and delivered to the western side of the Russian Federation to fight in Ukraine. And the United States says that it takes Putin's nuclear threat seriously. So before, in his speech about the referendum and mobilization, Putin said that we have all of the options to be used to protect the Russian Federation. So now they will go on the referendum. They don't care what people would vote for, or they don't care about people if they vote or not. They'll put Russian Federation in Ukraine, basically annexing the part of our country. So he said that they're gonna protect and secure those areas, and that is why they may use nuclear weapons. So United States are now taking seriously that threat from Vladimir Putin. And Iranian protests are continuing there. Those are true riots, my friends. That is what should be in Russia, but there are none of them. Russians are so brainwashed, they are so soft and fluffy that they will never I think, go on those rights. Well, at least I would be very surprised if they do that stuff in Russia. And Iranian regime is up to collapse, my friends. I'm eagerly waiting for it, and I do respect those Iranians who are fighting against it. My friends, I'm gonna keep you updated on the situation here in Ukraine. Now, please press the like to support my channel. Also, if you want to support me financially, there are some of the links in the video description just below. You may support me on Patreon, PayPal, or Donatello, whichever you like. My friends, I wish you a peaceful sky wherever you are. Have a great time.
We are trying to do the same but with Canon. I don't know. Write in comments, do you think they're gonna stop them or no? But